And then I ask him at the end sometimes, okay, how much would you pay your company, your own company, if you would be buying your own business? Would you pay even $500,000 for the business? You want 10 million for it? And they have no answer.
Yeah, it's basically like giving them a realistic expectation of what reality is. So let me ask you this.
It is like a house, it's like a car. If your house in your neighborhood, is $1 million worth, everybody's selling more or less for the same amount of money.
As a business owner, let's say, what should somebody be doing to prepare for the sale of their business? Like, do they need to contact an accountant to clean up their books? Do they need to get certain documents ready? Like, what documents do they get ready? Like, what advice would you give to somebody preparing to sell their business?
The best thing is if they don't have really good financials that somebody can look at them and tell them, okay, how much this business is making, they should go and find a good CPA or even a business appraiser, because appraiser are looking for those things, and get advice from them and hire people that clean up their books and bring up their financials. Because if they want to sell, at some point, if there is a buyer is going to ask for those, and now you have to go and do that what I just told you, right? So you better do that up front. And then if you have a CPA at the lowest, an accountant has prepared them, the buyers have more confidence that, hey, these are prepared by this CPA, and they can contact the CPA, talk to the CPA, and or their CPA, their lawyers can talk to that particular CPA and get even more detailed information, because now that person has all the paperwork there, right? So that would help. So have realistic expectation. That is the biggest problem you have with sellers. What I mean by that is somebody says, for example, my business makes $100,000 profit a year, right? My total sale, your company is maybe $350,000 worth. And he gets mad at me telling him that, and because he expects $3 million. So I'm asking him, where did you get this number? I mean, you tell me where you're getting this number, then I understand. And he said, oh, the potential. 10 years from now, this company is going to make $20 million sales and it's going to make $10 million profit. I tell him, so what you're saying is somebody should buy your business today, work 10 years, spend money, invest huge amount of money, training, people, inventory, and all of this, and 10 years from now, go to that $10 million sales. But you want the money for his work today. So somebody pay you for the work he's going to do, for the investment he's going to do for next 10 years. And they will look at it this way. And then I ask him at the end sometimes, okay, how much would you pay your company, your own company, if you would be buying your own business? Would you pay even $500,000 for the business? You want 10 million for it? And they have no answer.
Yeah, it's basically like giving them a realistic expectation of what reality is. So let me ask you this. Let's say somebody wants to sell their business. Obviously, they can do it on their own if they wanted to. Yes. Probably not recommendable. So let's talk about, if you wanted to do it on your own, where would you advertise it? And then two, if you wanted to hire a broker, what do you look for in a broker when hiring a business broker to help you? And what are the advantages of having a business broker help you?
Well, if you have experienced business broker, I have to say something before that, because that happens a lot. I go to a seller and the seller tells me, yesterday was this guy here, and shows me the business card and then says, this guy said my business is $10 million worth. And I am sitting there and telling him your business is $3 million worth. So obviously I go with the analogy, and then I ask him at the end, as I said, I ask you, would you pay $10 million for your business? And I tell him, you know what, give honest answer. Would you pay $10 million for your own business if you wanted to buy? You know your business, you know your inventory, you know your income. And the answer usually is no, right? Or they don't want to say yes, at least. So that's another no. So I tell him the broker wants just to get the listing. Be aware of it. It is like a house, is like a car. If your house in your neighborhood, is $1 million worth, everybody's selling more or less for the same amount of money, and a broker comes to you and say, give me the listing, I evaluate your home at $2 million or at $1.5 million, which is 40% above your neighborhood or the selling price of your neighborhood. Shouldn't you think there is what's going on here? Why, if my neighbor is selling the same house for $1 million, I'm going to get $2 million for my house? These are unfortunately, like every other business, they are crooks. So they sign you up for 2 years, 3 years, sometimes even more listing. So that's exclusive listing. It means you can, even if you sell it yourself, to your son, to your uncle, whatever in future, let's say months from now, you still have to pay whatever you agreed, 10% or so, to that broker, even though did nothing, right? So, or you sell on your own, you go get another broker. Let's say a year from now, you get another broker, say, hey, this guy lied to me, and you get another broker, and this broker is selling to the right price. You still have to pay the original broker.
Yeah.
You have exclusive listing. So, you have to have an alarm going on when somebody, if you know in your heart the value of your business. So if somebody come and tells you really 2, 3, 4, 5 times of that value, you should not think, oh my God, the greed, I'm going to get 10 million for my business. You signing up your business for 3 years now, you cannot, most of the time, you cannot get from under this listing.
Yeah, you can't exit it out. So let me ask you this. 2 things came up. If I wanted to advertise it, where would I advertise it? And then 2, in real estate, obviously there's comps for real estate. Are the comps available for businesses as well too? And then how do you find they're not available for businesses? Like meaning, here's a restaurant.
They're really not comps because businesses are different. So as I said, you can't say a business that's down the street, a restaurant sold for $3 million. Your restaurant maybe be worth only $500,000 because this guy, for example, was having Italian food and you're having Chinese food, for example, even though you have the same amount of net income, right? Because only Chinese people are going to be interested to buy your Chinese restaurant. Italian restaurant, everyone can buy. I can buy, you can buy, Chinese can buy, Japanese can buy. So that's how it embedded itself. So for that reason, that's why I said in the beginning, 3 to 4 times is a good thing to look at it, any income, but it can be a lot less than that. It can be a lot more, not a lot more. It can be a bit more than that, a bit more, but it could be a lot less than that.
I've heard that plumbing businesses can go like 7 times or 6 times the multiples.
No, not really. There was at sometimes is a pick on something, right? 2000 maybe 5 or so, when everybody was building and everybody was remodeling and things, and then it somehow popped to those companies that they would do nothing. They were just middlemen. They were advertising. We do this, we do remodeling, your kitchen, your whatever. And then if they had a business, they had a customer, they would find somebody to do the job, right? They were middlemen, doing nothing. Still, there are a lot of them on internet, you find out. They are very good in marketing, so that's all they know, nothing else. And then they had some, these companies, at some point, they were making $2 million profit a year, right? Because people were nearly, I don't know why, people were really not looking because their value of their house went so up, or they were telling them, hey, if you spend $200,000, the value is going to be double what it is, for example, which it was happening, as you know, in California especially. So people were spending they were in a hurry to spend $200,000 on their homes, right? They were not looking that they could do this job for $50,000 too.
Yeah.
And because the value of the house was going up, it was easy to finance. So at the same companies, they would finance in $200,000, adding to their loan, to their home loan, and doing some remodeling for them.